First of all, I have to ask Mr. Mahesky over here, did you read my speech? I'm beginning to wonder. Secondly, we shouldn't be mad, folks, and we shouldn't be really mad about the taxes that we're paying, and that's going to be the thrust of what I'm going to talk about today. My name is Guy Midkiff. I am running for Ward 3 City Council in the great city of Washington, Missouri, and over the next 5 minutes, hopefully I'll be able to convince you why voting for me is voting for the future of Washington, Missouri. Let me begin by extending a warm thanks to Annette Johnson and the Washington Federated Republican Women for making this luncheon possible. This is a much appreciated forum, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity for my fellow candidates and I to present ourselves to the voter. Yes, I'm a little bit nervous here, so excuse the shaky paper. My goal is to contrast myself against my opponent and impress upon you my resolve and leadership and ability to take Washington into the future. As I was preparing this speech, I found that there were two types of people that don't like paying taxes, and that would be women and men. Thank you. My campaign slogan comes down to this, quite frankly. It's time for a change. I wish I could say that I came up with that, but I had one of my friends here in Washington who came up with the idea, and I like it. And so that's what I'm using. And that's based around my core belief that I believe in less government, less taxes, and less regulation. It's quite that simple. America must be reminded of what our founding fathers knew as an absolute. The more government we have, the less freedom we have. I hope my child behaves himself over there. Kyle, you've been a good boy? All right. I'm very optimistic about the future of Washington. I'll say that right up front. I do see a lot of things that I like. We're moving in the right direction in a lot of ways. But there's a couple of things that I don't particularly care for, and that's what I'm going to try to talk about briefly today. Washington is at a crossroad, and the frustration I hear when speaking with people in my ward tells me that they've had enough and that they are hurting. Families are being foreclosed out of their homes at rates not seen in decades as the American dream fades for many. To make that matters worse, our economy is teetering on the edge of a full-blown recession. And whether it's $36,000, what I call vanity light poles, $6 million expansions to airports that I really don't think too many people are using. I don't think many people in here are using it, quite frankly. Or whether it be questionable real estate purchases by the school system, the time has come for all of us to say, enough is enough. Let's put the unchecked expansion into proper context. This city population has grown by about 6% in the last 7 years. Important number for you to remember, 6%. But the budget has grown by 100%. The city has grown by 6%, the number of people, budget by 100%. The amount of revenue, tax and all funds included, taken in by the city has grown by 200%, approaching $60 million. Try to wrap your mind around that large sum of money. And my question for you is, has the benefits to you as tax-paying owners of Washington justified this historic growth in budgets and revenue? Would you run your own household finances the way Washington has conducted theirs? As homeowners, we know what happens when we overextend ourselves. For example, buying Mercedes-Benz, when quite frankly a Ford would have been a lot better and it would have put Americans to work. Or taking a trip to Hawaii when a trip to the Lake of the Ozarks would have been just as practical, much more practical, quite frankly. Let me make this pledge to you today. My boss will always be my constituents, period. You will be my boss, and I will answer only to you. I have the experience necessary to do the job by virtue of my education in economics, my previous position in elected local government, or my business ownership experience. I am intimately familiar, thank you 2 minutes ago, or familiar with how government operates, and I have a proven track record not only managing budgets but also ensuring every penny is squeezed out of your taxpayer dollar, and that will be my priority, I promise you. Here's a simple method of reducing the amount of money a government spends. It's quite this simple. Reduce the money we send them. Stop feeding the tax beast so much of what it's addicted to, and that's your tax dollars that you work hard for. And if you're on a fixed income, I guarantee you it hurts even more. Put the tax beast on a diet and see what magical efficiencies appear from the so-called cut-to-the-bones budget. My qualifications, I have been a business owner, and I am currently a business owner. I put people to work here in the city of Washington. I rose to the rank of Major in the United States Marine Corps and was a Marine pilot and oversaw multi-million-dollar budgets when I was in that capacity. I've been elected before the government. I've been an advocate for World War II veterans, a passion of mine. I've been a mentor for troubled youth before. And as far as volunteerism in the community goes, my boy over here seated today, not listening to what I'm saying, he goes to San Francis Borgia. We're active volunteers in fundraising at the school, trivia night, fundraising committees that I'm on, and I take enormous satisfaction in being able to offer free photography for the children as a fundraiser each and every year. It's been quite successful for them. My little girl who's at school today, she goes to Washington West, where my wife and I weekly act as classroom volunteers for her teacher. And I'm also on the traffic committee at Washington West. I'm down to my last minute. So, you can see, ladies and gentlemen, my wife and I set the example to our children, not only by what we say, but also by our deeds and actions. Volunteerism is very important to us. I'll not hesitate to ask the tough questions. With my business background, I'll be able to analyze complex issues and not depend on others to show me how to vote. I'll not hesitate to question $36,000 vanity light poles or $6 million expansions to airports that no one used. And let's take a look at Camp Street Bridge. The jury's still out on that one. Or a recent $420,000 windfall from telecom litigation that was not rebated back to who it belonged to, and that was you, the taxpayers of this community. I'll support infrastructure investment, the police department, the fire department, and quality of life investments. I really appreciate your time. I'd like to have your vote, and I hope to see you on April 8th. Thank you very much.